1960. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Shining Hawk Healing. I am Toni, and my special guest is Joyce from Joyce All Knowing Tarot. I am so happy to have you here, Joyce. First of all, hello to everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am loving these live streams because I get to meet so many wonderful people, and I've been watching Joyce for a long time, and now I got to meet her. I'm so excited. It's so great. It's there's so many wonderful people in this community, and I just like everything is like I'm a kid in a candy store because that's how I feel about this work. So for those of you who are joining us in the playback, just be sure to join the conversation and leave a comment below. And as always, everyone, hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications, and last but not least, subscribe if you like what you see and hear here. So Joyce, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. I was just delighted when you wrote me and asked me. I'm like, yeah, of course. I looked at your channel and I really liked what I saw. And you're just a beautiful lady. Wow,
Thank you. So are you. Look at it. You look really good in purple. I love that color.
Thank you. Well, I'm grubby today because I potted some hydrangeas, because you can pot them or plant them outside because it's really a bush. And so I was deadheading them, and I'm thinking about taking them out of the pot actually and moving them to the ground, later on in the fall and stuff. So I'm just doing my gardening today.
So do you do that? You plant the bulbs or the in the ground before the winter? So that they can.
Well, what I'll do is initially I got them as a smaller plant, and then I got big pots and put them in. But at the end of during fall, like probably October-ish, November-ish, I can actually put them in the ground as long as they're in before the ground freezes up, so they can get time to adjust to be in that. So.
And it gets cold there where you are.
It does get cold. It does. Not as cold as you would think. When I was growing up in Wisconsin, in the wintertime, it was always sub-zero temperature. But we get more snow here. And I live right by the lake, so we definitely get bombarded with a lot of snow and not as much cold. So.
And that wind, because I'm from Chicago, so I know about the wind. I mean, I used to get blown down Michigan Avenue some days.
The wind is something fierce. And I've been here almost 5 years. So now I kind of understand the wind. And so I know like if it's going to rain or something's coming in, because you'll get right off the lake. We'll get this torrential wind. In fact, I don't know if you saw that my daughter got married. So we did the wedding. And we had a tent there. And it's been twice that tent, even though it's staked in the ground, has blown over like out in the streets, over the neighbors. Yeah, we had to finally take it down because the winds would get so heavy. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, by the way, for that. For your daughter. It's just amazing. And I used to work in catering, so I know how hard it is to throw a party in the backyard. So much to do. So much to do. And I don't envy you.
No, it was a lot of work, but I'm being a teacher has made me very systematic. So everything was started early in the year, and I would gather this, the meats and your sides, and little by little until we build a whole thing. Luckily, we have a lot of room in the house, and we had an island and a big counter. I call it side of the sink, side of the sink. And so we made that. We turned all that into a buffet. So we had a line coming in where we had a spot where they pick up their plates and cutlery, and you just walk the line and get your plate. And so it was very organized. It was great.
Sounds beautiful. And is she still on her honeymoon, or is she back home?
She came back. Actually, she honeymooned with us. We were going to go back because I do go back home once every couple of years, every couple of years. And so we all went back like the 21st of June. And it was the first time her husband saw Wisconsin. And she had it then. So now she's back working. Everybody's back doing what they normally do. We're back at it.
Good. So glad. Blessings to her, and all white light energy and protection and love for her. Sending all the good things. I'm just Weddings are just amazing. I love them. That was one of the high points of catering was when we did weddings.
It's so
So
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, I just want to ask you how did you how did you start on this path? This path. I know that I've watched your channel and I know that you've had these gifts for a long time.
I
So,
have.
but what was the defining moment when you said this is the path that I'm going to go?
You know what? I don't think there is really such a thing because the gifts found me. I didn't find them. It started with me with having deja vu when I was a little kid. And I remember being on my porch, like my mother would be sitting out, and I'd like, Mommy, that man, that happened before. I had a deja vu. I'd just be so excited. And then the next big thing was I knew a neighbor across the street had passed away. And I told my mother, someone, because I had a guide and they told me, so I told her, and then she never was I don't believe you. She was very rooted in her, even though she was very religious, she was religious
Mm.
and spiritual. She had her own gifts. And she went over there and stayed for a long time. And sure enough, he had passed away. He was still in the bed. They hadn't even moved him yet. And so it went from there. And I started getting into the cards. Yeah. And I was very young, and I think I've told this story a lot, but I think it's worth telling. And it was, I must have been somewhere between 7 and 9. I can't even remember the exact age. And I dreamt I was in a TV studio and they were filming a show, and it was risers like bleachers. And
Mm-hmm.
I had come through the door and I was standing at the back, like looking down like a nosy kid. What are they doing? What are they doing? And I could see way down at the bottom, there was a lady with white hair and super red lipstick and very pale makeup, and there was someone interviewing her, and she was going to give a reading is what she said. And of course I didn't know what that meant, but I could see she had cards on her table, and I knew cards because my parents always played cards, and they'd play
Mm-hmm.
pity pat and that kind of stuff with us. And so they told her to pick someone, and she pointed all the way up to me, and I was like, and then she shook her head and she was doing this to me. I walked down the steps and I stood next to her, not knowing what to expect. She did not do a reading on me. She told me that this is what you're going to be doing and that she was going to be with me and she would talk to me another time. And so after that, I would have dreams. Everything comes to me in a dream most of the time. And I would have dreams of, her calling me, like be my dad or my mom would answer the phone because we couldn't, as kids, you know how it is. You can't just jump on the phone at my house. So they would answer the phone and they would tell me Joyce, and they'd hand me the phone and she'd tell me whatever she was going to tell me. And it just kind of went from there.
Wow.
At that point, I moved out to Vegas and started working in casinos. Thought I was going to make it rich, being a blackjack dealer or a cocktail waitress. I was very naive. You ever think about coming from Milwaukee? Well, you being from Chicago, you don't, Chicago is different areas. So you
Yeah.
imagine like the west side or the south side of Chicago,
Right. I grew up on the
Milwaukee.
south side.
Right, right. So you're talking about Milwaukee, a smaller version of Milwaukee, and you know what that means. But yeah, so that's what I thought. And I put all of that to side, but stuff would still come to me. And I got into education. But my gifts really worked for me as it came to dealing with students and their parents. I wish I had engaged with it more. I'd get an
Mm.
even deeper understanding. But when I look at the child, I would know what was going on, at
Hmm.
the house and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's
And
amazing. And how
it
long did you
wasn't.
teach?
32 years. I always say 30
Wow.
plus. Yeah. I taught, my license is K through 8. I taught all those grades at one time or another. I also was a resource teacher. And so my job was to get students that were almost proficient across that line in English language arts, English language arts and math. And
Hmm.
then I was an assistant principal, and then I was a principal, and that's a lot of work, a lot of
Wow.
responsibility. Yeah.
Wow.
But
So
those give
that's
me the skills. You should get something from the job that you worked, and they gave me the how to put a wedding together in my own backyard. you know, Everything is a step. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's great. I mean, I loved school so much. It was just,
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
just like, I was just so eager to just learn everything that I could. And I worshiped my teachers. I mean, except for one, my algebra teacher. I didn't, I we didn't get
Right.
along. But all my other
I didn't
teachers.
like school. I did not like school at all. I was probably, I felt like I was so dumb and inept. And I think it was just because this is what happens in real life. When a kid comes to your school and they are struggling in a subject or behaviorally, it's something happened at the house. And so it makes a block between their ability to learn, which they want for the most part, and you as an educator. And so I learned the art of building a rapport and getting to know them. And, we would start our day with, we would kick it. That's what I said. Let's kick it this morning. And someone would get a chance to share what they did and yada, yada. It'd be the most extravagant things. They went to the moon and then they went to the circus and they went to Chuck E. Cheese. But you don't correct them. You're just like, wow, that's fantastic. And that builds trust. And then they can learn. But I did not like school. And the funny thing is, the teacher, Miss Marr, I will never forget her. I was in advanced English, right? English lit, British English, as a matter of fact. And she took me outside the door, and she's like, Joyce, I want to talk to you about something. And she was very strict and tight and all that, spear haircut and all that. And she said, you are so smart and you don't even know it. And you could do so well in this class, but you got a chip on your shoulder. And unless you get rid of that chip on your shoulder. But she was not lying. I did. I really did, for many reasons of trying to defend who I am and yada, yada. And so I did. And I didn't get it at that time. Obviously, that automatically made me hate her, even though I got an A in the class. But I didn't do well. I was very average. It wasn't until I got into college and I was just bored with dealing and all of that. I was just bored with it, but I had to work. And I said, let me take some summer classes at the community college. And I took psychology and algebra 1, I think it was, and something else. I can't even remember. It was like 3 classes. And I got a 4.0. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
What?
And so, I went then. I said, okay, well, let me try this again. I went the next semester. I took 4 classes. I got a 4.0. And so I went to my advisor and he goes, you do not belong here. You need to be at UNLV. And I had no idea how to get into college. And he was like, I'm going to help you get in there. And I did. And I ended up getting an academic scholarship because I went into education. And I stayed on a 4-year academic scholarship the whole time. So never let anyone tell you no. Don't tell yourself no. You can.
No.
You can. If I can, you can. And that was my mantra to my students. If I could do this, you could do this and better,
And it's funny that you hated school, but then you ended up in school.
I wasn't just a teacher. I was an award-winning teacher. I'm not even trying to brag. I'm telling you, I would win awards for curriculum, classroom behavior. I won Teacher of the Year, Charter School Teacher of the Year twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No overachieving here for you.
But you don't ever take the time. We never take the time to really acknowledge ourselves, our wins.
Yes.
We'll focus on the losses and who said what and yada, yada, yada. But we never pat ourselves on the back. So for me to even say all of that out loud, which most of the story people have heard, is a lot, without feeling automatically like, oh, I'm bragging. Oh, I sound like this and that. No, it's something I accomplished and I worked for, and I worked a full-time job. And I had 2 little girls at the time who are now 42 and 37. And I did that, yeah.
And yes, and you survived it all.
I did.
You were successful, and you are successful, and you're continuing to be successful, and your channel is just taking off. And so when did you know that you wanted to have a channel? When did you decide I'm going to do this?
That's funny because I think we were talking about that. Did you watch the little honors we did with Linda G?
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
we had a puppy at.
Oh, okay. That's a whole baby. But we all were sort of the same thing. It wasn't like we said, aha. My daughters I was watching these ladies. This was a couple of years ago, and I was watching them, Linda included, and a few more. And I was like, my daughters were saying, you read cards? I said, okay, let me read with them. And, it'd be yes. We would get the same thing. Sometimes we wouldn't. And then it got to be my daughters were like, Mommy, you could do a channel too. I'm like, oh no, because I'm an introvert extrovert, if that makes sense. Once I'm going, I go. But just to have me reach out to you and say, hey, interview me, or hey, be on my channel, it will not happen. It is not because I don't like you. It's just that that's just me. But around that same year, it was March, and I had gotten the new computer and microphone and all the bells and whistles stuff. And then I'm like, I literally was at my door like, okay. And then I just went from there. Yeah. And the first video was just so stiff and all of that. And then you just get used to it after a while. And the people are so supportive. I say that all the time. They're supportive and they're encouraging. And that just helps for you to go.
Yeah, I felt the first time I did it, I felt like a deer in the headlights. I was like, where do I look? What do I do? What do I say? How do I do this?
Right, exactly.
So do you give personal readings?
I do. I give personal readings, as well as I teach classes. Right now we have the beginner tarot class. That is like one of my most interesting and fun classes, because a lot of times people come with this preconceived notion. Maybe they watched a lot of YouTube channels, or maybe they've had cards before. Sometimes they've had cards before and then they threw them away out of frustration or whatever. But they come in and they just really open up. Like I had a lady write me. The lady wrote me and said, "This was such a great class you gave. It was seamless." And I'm like, I'm a teacher. But I said, thank you very much. We've been doing this for a while. Yeah. So, and it's seamless. And I have my support, which is Camille. And a lot of people know Camille. And that is my daughter. She's my youngest. She's 20. But anything on the back end, she gets it together beautifully. And she answers mails and she sets appointments and she
nice
schedule. So she's wonderful to have. And then besides that, I teach an advanced tarot. I teach energy healing. I teach numerology. And I'm going to do one this fall. And I think I'm calling it exercising your intuition muscle, because it's one thing to read cards, but it's another thing to really tap into, which I may have you come with me with that, but really get into that space of intuition, opening up yourself and what you offering as far as healing and Reiki healing, because I've had Reiki treatments before and they're wonderful. It really opens you up. So,
Yeah, I mean, there was once that I was doing Reiki on a guy, and I got down to his feet, and I just, because I'm an empath, right? I'm not really that like I'm not a medium. I'm just a person who feels energy really intensely. Like I can't watch the Olympics because my body just wants to shut down from all of the anticipation and everything. But I got down to his feet and I just felt the chains on his ankles. Right. And I said, I gotta just say, you had chains on. I just felt like there were chains on your ankles. He said, yeah, I'm in a court fight with, and I've been sort of corralled. I can't really go anywhere, do anything because I'm in this lawsuit. So that was like one of my first instances where I was like, "Ooh, okay,
right."
I understand now.
A lot of these labels, I'm not a fan of them. I like to say I'm a spiritual advisor, because I also get spirits that come. They come often. Sometimes they keep me up at night. The night before, I had a little girl come through, which I would put it on my show, and she wanted to be heard. And I talked to whoever I was talking to. I wasn't 100% sure who, but she gave me her name and what her circumstances was. And then there was a little boy there. They were fighting back and forth of trying to come through to me. And she was coming through here, and I could feel him like pounded on my head. Like,
wow.
I get that. I get, sometimes it's family members, but I will know, like I had a neighbor across the street from me, and I started seeing these people all in black, and they would come and they would set up chairs. Like, you remember the old time lawn chairs with the little nylon strips and those things? And they would open those chairs and they would sit in his parking lot of his driveway. They would come and sit. And I would see them all the time. And, I didn't tell my neighbor at all, but I knew that, oh my goodness, something is wrong with George. Something's wrong with George. Something's not right. And it was about 3 months or so later, he had cancer in one of his lymph nodes or whatever. And yeah, and then I dreamed of the day that he was going to die and what the setup was going to look out front of the house. And there was going to be a red truck. There's going to be a red truck parked to the side. Another truck was going to be blocking the entrance, and it was going to be a car parked behind it, and people were going to be moving around. And I had dreamt that. So we were sitting in our living room. This is true story. Myself and Camille, and she was looking straight ahead out the window, and I was sort of facing the TV. I have a fireplace and TV on the same wall. And she said, "Boy, I wonder what's happening at George's house." And I looked out, and lo and behold, everything that I said I was going to see when he died. I said, "Oh, George passed." And she's like, "How do you know?" I said, "I know he passed." And sure enough, his wife texted me that night and said, "George passed." And I didn't say I know or anything like that, but I already knew. And sometimes I'm in meditation, and in my third eye, that's where I see a lot. And they'll be standing up like almost like in a semicircle of people that I don't know, but they want to come through and talk. And so sometimes I have to sage out my room or make them go to sleep. I'm going to sleep. Good night, whatever. The other night I saw a man in black, and he was standing up. My closet is white. You can see like the doors are white here. So my closet door is white. And he was standing up against the door, and he was looking down at me. And I woke up. This is the middle of the night. And my dog, my German Shepherd, sleeps in the room, and she didn't even wake up. And I looked over and I saw, and I'm like, I rolled the cover over. I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. Okay. It's the middle of the night. I'm not getting up to talk about anything. Good night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. True.
You got to put a bubble around you at night.
I do. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I thank God all the time because these are gifts that we all have. I am not special, but I do know that I feel on this planet to utilize different platforms just to speak a type of peace or calm into people, to know that it's all good. We are all good, irregardless of what things appear. We have to be good in here. Then when you're good in here, you'll have more that's good out there. You'll see more good.
Well, that was one of my questions for later. Well, so you were talking about your guides.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like have an indication? Do they give you an indication about names of who they are, or do they have names, or do they have colors, or do they have?
Okay, so for example, Mary, she looked like in the 50s type of lady with a bouffant hairdo and everything else, and she told me her name. Then sometimes I don't. Boy, this has been about a year or so ago. And next one I met, and I was in a park in my meditation. I went to a park, and there was a bench, and I walked over to the bench, and walking up was a spirit, and he and or she, I couldn't tell because the hair was about my length, but just straighter. And it was white, and the skin was very translucent, and he had something flowing on. Did not tell me his name. This spirit hugged me like a hug I've never felt before. It was a love, I'm telling you, I've never felt. It's a different kind of love. It's a love that is so pure. And I remember hugging them like church back, like, oh, okay. That is what so clearly, I was like, okay, I don't know who you are, but they knew me. Okay. And so, no, they don't always say their names, and they appear, and there's more than one, but you usually have one main one, and that's Mary, and she still comes around. Your family that transcend, they come around only because especially when they first, if it's something that's critical, like they got shot, or God forbid, or the car accident, they don't know that they're dead initially. And then if they've passed over and they knew they were long suffering or whatever, they just want to see you again. They want to be around you again. They want to be at their own funeral again. And then they are in your dreams, and that's how they come to you. Or they maybe you ask for a sign or what have you, and then they come around. Like my cousin, his name was Ernie G, from Milwaukee, a DJ in Milwaukee, big time back in the day, and he passed. It's only been less than a month. It was very surprising for everyone. And I said, on the day that we talked about it, actually, what happened was we were sitting in my living room, and my salt. I had a big box of Morton's kosher salt, that big blue box, and I had a olive oil, one of those Rachel Ray olive oil pourers.
Yeah.
But they were sitting up against the wall, and do you know we were talking about him, and both of them hit the ground, and the olive oil container broke, and the salt was on the floor, and so I knew that was him. So I said to him, "If you are around me, I want you to show me a cardinal. I want to see a cardinal. Cardinals are red, and that would just be an indication." And so then the next week we were driving down the street, and there was a neighbor, one of our neighbors, and on their fence they had two cardinals, artificial cardinals sitting on. I'm like, wow. So then the next week, two cardinals flew onto the banister on my porch and looked in my window. I said, okay, I see you. I got it. I got it. I got it. So yeah. And we were very close. My first cousin. Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Mhm.
And that was the question. How do you get messages from the other side?
And I'm going to say, as far as wanting to know, are your loved ones there? Or if your guides are there, which they're with you all the time. You don't make a move without them. A lot of times people will say, well, I'm talking to my angels. Well, actually, angels don't talk. Angels have not been down here. They don't have to reincarnate. They are on a higher level. It
Mhm.
is your guides. Your guides aren't your family members, because Grandpa Joe, who just passed, is not evolved enough. He just came off of this dimension with us. But your guides are assigned to you, and they take that
Mm.
assignment and they stick with you. But you can see that they're there by asking them to show you something, and be specific. Maybe you want, like, you got a feather there. Maybe you want a certain color feather, or a monarch butterfly, or something like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so weird, because a monarch butterfly flew in my house last week and flew
Hmm.
around my kitchen and then flew out the door. And it
Hmm.
was like, I,
Hmm. Speechless, speechless. Yeah.
what do I say
Yeah.
to that? That's
Hmm.
amazing. Okay, so let's ask some questions. There's a woman who was duct taped to her seat on American Airlines because she tried to open the plane door during the flight. What was going on with her? This happened, I guess a few days ago, and she tried to open the doors, and
Yeah, I
they
know what you're referring to, which is kind of hard for me just to tell you this is what's going on with her, because it could be psychological issues. She could have something that was reminiscent of something that was a trigger for her from her trauma, that someone said, in passing or to her, that would cause her to act out.
Hmm,
Probably shouldn't have took the flight to begin with if she wasn't emotionally prepared. But then who
hmm.
knows what's going to trigger you? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think that was especially humane. That's just my own opinion, because I'm an emotional empath as well. And it made me feel, it made me feel a kind of way. But what are you going to do? Because, you're trying to protect a lot of other passengers. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, and another question I had was, that there's did you read about that factory fire in Bangladesh? I mean, I did a show on it this last week, but the fire, the workers were locked inside of the warehouse, and I think 52 people died.
Mm.
And I think that the people who own the factory have been arrested, but I'm not sure. So I was wondering if you could see anything about what's going on with that. What will happen with
What
that
caused it?
factory.
Why?
It's just a tragedy. I mean, and it's so reminiscent of all of the other times in history that people have locked workers into the factory.
So I'm pulling some cards here. I got some new cards. I really like them. They're called the Housewife Tarot. They're fun. I have a lot of dark ones. I thought this would be fun. I got the Ten of Pentacles. So this was a family business. This was their legacy, their bread and butter.
Mm,
However, um, the thing about it is that they are greedy and selfish, and there's someone that felt like whoever, whatever, like maybe you're supposed to pay me for this or that. This family, with these people that own this, weren't taking care of their business, and it made someone feel like you're trying to leave me out of making my end of the money, my part of the money. And
Mm.
somebody, we have a King of Cups. Somebody came around and decided King of Cups would be a very sensitive, easily hurt, walking on eggshells type of person that said, this is what I'm going to do in return because you put me out of this business, or you didn't
Oh.
fulfill my end of, like you were supposed to pay me this much and you shortchanged me. Okay.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm seeing that, yeah, that's what I'm seeing what happened around that situation. They didn't care too much about what was going on. Looks like these people have been arrested and there will be justice, for the individuals. It's not going to be like US justice where
Right.
what we know as justice, but there will be justice on this, and they will definitely receive some punishment for this, because if it wasn't for their greed, I'm just going to put it like that, their
Hmm.
greed, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. This is not the first time they've hurt other people that try to do business with them, or hurt other people that work there, and you're overworking us and you're giving us pennies and you're taking the lion's share. It'll
Right.
be the last time though.
One more question about that, and,
Mhm.
and I hope, I don't know if you can see that, but are they the ones who locked the doors, or was it someone who was trying to sabotage the
Like I said,
warehouse?
this was a sabotage situation for the situation. I think in terms of locking the door, or I'm thinking starting the fire, locking the doors is the way that it was. That is the way that it was. That's protocol. Okay. That is my feeling. That is protocol. That's how it was. You just didn't know about it. I just didn't know about it, but the people
Mm.
working there did. There's a lot of secrets I'm seeing that's around this particular factory. There's a lot in a lot of places there, but there's a lot of secrets. It's about getting there, getting that work done, getting the money. You get 20 cents or $2 for the week, and I'm making 200 million or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, the same old story.
Hmm. They didn't set their own business on fire though.
Ah, jeez, jeez. So, another question I had about the anti-vax movement. Oh my gosh. So,
You see the
is
look on my
it,
face. Go ahead.
can you can you see what will happen to this movement? Will it continue, or will it get stronger? Will it fade
No.
away?
This movement is not going to get any stronger. There's going to be a certain group of people, and I'm going to put those as Trumpsters and those that are not as knowledgeable, that will stay in that, or maybe they even have religious requirements that says that they can't get vaccines, whether it's that one or any other for their children. You're going to always have that group of people, but that group is not going to increase because, and this is just based on the science has shown that the people that are getting vaccinated are ultimately resisting even those variants. They're able to resist that. I do feel there will be a booster that's going to be made of people. I can feel that for sure, but
Oh,
I don't think
good.
that that is going to grow. I also don't think that's going to go away. I'm talking about the people, the anti-vaxxers.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah. Wow. That's just so sad because, you know, the people who are actually passing away from this are the ones who are not vaccinated. And I think I read
Mhm.
somewhere that only 40% of Americans are vaccinated.
It depends
So,
on where you are. I think it depends on state to state. Some are higher, some are lower, but
and I
I think
saw
it's a
that
little bit higher
Chicago
than
is
that.
actually implementing a thing where they'll come to your house and vaccinate everybody in your family.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing that nationwide. Supposedly,
Oh,
that Biden is supposed to be planning a situation. I don't know if it's true or false, but Biden is supposed to be sending people out to vaccinate you door by door to make it easier for you to get the vaccine. I'm sorry I keep drinking, but I just got off a reading, so I'm dry.
oh, no worries, no worries. You got to drink your water. Drink
Hmm.
your water, everyone. We got to
I
stay
do.
hydrated. We do. So, why are so many people? I don't know if you can answer this, but why are so many people exhibiting the and I guess I don't say that guy's name on my channel, but they're, the people who are following that guy, why, what is the end game for them? I mean, I just, it boggles my mind that
No, you know the
science has
answer
been.
to this. You know the answer to this, and my spirit says you know the answer to this, and I'm gonna be the one to say it. So we're talking about DJT, correct? And the people that are still following him. He opened a door, right? It's
Mhm,
always been there. You know this. It's
mhm,
always been there. In the north, it was more uh covert, correct?
mhm,
In the South, it wasn't, but we got along. In fact, the South, which is were in back in the time, the slaveholders, and not majority of people did not own slaves. Let's be clear, but
mhm.
that was more open. But we got along. We could live next door to our white neighbors, and we could be best friends. Period. But in the North, it was different, and so this allowed people's truth to come out because it was never checked. It wasn't
Mm.
checked. There was no the decorum of things we don't say or do to people um, has been exposed. We look at the police situation and how they've treated certain groups of people have been exposed. And it's not just George Floyd. There's a whole lot of people. Look at Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin, who they didn't do anything for him. That George Zimmerman run amok. It's a lot of people. So Philandro Castro, let me not forget him, but there's many people. So this is not new. It's just that now we're in the age of cell phones and people knowing that they can record and tape. Now the truths are coming out and they feel empowered by saying things. This is the fear. And I'm going to say it to you. In my opinion, I believe that some people that are Caucasian feel like if people of color came into power or got all their rights and things that belong to them, perhaps we would do to them what they did to us. Not
Oh,
true. Not true. Each
not true.
people are completely different. First and foremost, let me just say this, and you probably know this already. Black people are some of the most forgiving people you ever want to meet in your life. Am I right or wrong? We will
You're
forgive
right.
you in a minute. We are
You're
the most
right.
forgiving people. Latino people, they are the most joyful, happiest people. They are a joy to have on this planet. They are. Yeah, the Asian people, they bring some of the most important creations and things, brilliant people. Everybody has a situation,
Yeah.
and Caucasian people, they bring rationality and systems and things like that. So we all play a part. If we work together as one, which what we are supposed to be doing here, imagine what we could do.
What we could do. We
Right.
could we could
But
do
it
so many
only
things.
behooves some of the wealthy. Everybody wealthy is not a bad person. I have nothing
No.
against making your money, but some people feel that money and power is the end game. For the people that are following Trump, there is no end game. They're blindly following someone. They're believing he's going to fly in on a plane. They thought that on the 4th of July he was going to fly in on the Eagle and come in with fireworks. They believe that they're going to have him back in office. I think August 13th. That's when August 13th. Some people are trying
Is
to
that a
say
Friday?
that is Friday the 13th. It is Friday the 13th. That's also
Is it a Friday?
it is a Friday. It's Friday the 13th. It's National Kool-Aid Day. It's National Kool-Aid Day. They want to drink the Kool-Aid. Some people are even suggesting that he at the CPAC was saying, let's hinting at another insurrection, to get him back in office again in August, like August
Mm,
7th or something like that. Not going to happen. I'm going to do a reading on that on my channel, so I'm not going to get into that too much, but
yeah.
yeah, it is being able to have someone that you can follow behind that you think has they're in alignment with you. And because of the school system, because of their families, they're undereducated or uneducated, and they don't realize that he can't come back in office. There's too many other people in line that would take the position if something was to happen to Biden. He can't lead them anywhere. You can't tell me that you are a Christian, but then you're following a man. We're not supposed to, aren't we? We're not supposed to worship idols and all of
Mhm.
that. That's what they said in my Bible. So yeah. hmm It's the first time they can say out loud the stuff that they've been wanting to say
Yeah, yeah,
all
you know,
along,
it's he
unchecked.
that's if you give somebody an inch, they will take it and then
hmm
go to the mile if
hmm
you allow it.
And here's the killing thing about it. This is the cherry on top. He doesn't like those people. He has no respect for those people. He would not have a bunch of them come to dinner at Mar-a-Lago or Trump Tower and let's eat, filet mignon or, whatever. That's not going to happen. He looks down his nose on them as much as many others do.
Yeah.
hmm
It's just crazy. I don't know.
hmm
It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, so I just touch back on the pandemic. This story about 6 fully vaccinated people catching in Texas. They were at a wedding and they all caught COVID, and the only ones who died were the people who were not vaccinated. Um, and then I think you already answered this question because you said there's going to be another booster,
Yes, there
probably.
will be.
So
hmm
yeah.
There will be.
So
And I would suggest, you know what? I'm gonna say it like this. And Linda and I were talking about this yesterday. For me personally, do what you want to do. For Joyce, I took it. Everybody in my family took it. We didn't have
mhm.
anything, backlash or any side effects or other than a bruisey arm. And
Yeah,
that was a day or two, but that was it. And my husband my husband and I both take high blood pressure medication, and he's had to have stents in his heart, so he's had to take some things. And I wanted him have it most of all than anyone else,
yeah, yeah,
because his health is a little bit more frail. But we all did because we were going to travel this summer and we wanted to stay safe. But at the same time, when I'm in crowds and things, we still put on a mask. We still social distance. I've always been like this. Is when we come in from the grocery store, or whatever, you go right to the bathroom, put your bags down, wash your hands with soap. That's long before any of this happened. So doing those things, I've never been one type of person like lick your ice cream cone that you licked off. That's disgusting. I'm not gonna, you have a taste of my soup, and
we didn't do
I'm
that in our
no.
family.
That was girl, no, that was a no. That was not allowed.
Yeah,
I never did.
can I
Even
have
when
a
in my
taste? No, get your own.
right, even in most in love with somebody, nah, no, I don't love nobody that much. No. Mm-mm.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. You know what I wanted to ask you too is what's going down in Cuba. Do you have any insight about that? I mean, the government is coming down on the protesters, but how is that going to play out?
Let's take a look. Cuba. What's going on with Cuba? Boy, you are really on top of the news. I don't really look at it
Well,
like
I did my homework. I knew I was coming out. I
that.
was coming in with somebody who knows it.
Cuba. So what are they protesting for?
They don't want to be poor anymore.
Okay,
I
so
get it.
yeah. So I see the protesting and feeling very victorious that they're standing up, right? They're standing up. And that feels good and almost celebratory, okay? Amongst themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, I'm going to be honest with you and say it isn't going to amount to a whole lot. It really
Oh,
is not. It is not. Um, yeah, like a lot of protests that we have, when like the women's march and everyone marched on that, there were millions of women that came out. But what really changed? They're still talking about abortion in the Supreme Court. So
yeah.
they'll still be back working their regular work. They'll still be at a minimum type of wages, but not right now. I don't see a big change coming for them.
So they're
No,
not going to have any kind of economic relief?
not right now. I don't.
Oh,
No.
gosh.
Not significant. I don't see anything that's going to be a significant change for them. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Mm. Will Haiti blow up? I don't. While we're
Haiti is
on.
a whole nother topic. Haiti is more, Haiti is a little more complex than that. So, of course, we know about the president being assassinated and his first lady being wounded. It initially was
Mhm.
she was assassinated too, but I think she's in the hospital in Miami. I think that's where she is right now.
Yeah, she went to
But she,
Florida.
yeah. So the question is like not are they going to blow up, but the question is more for me is who did that? Okay. And so when we look at these are a mercenary group. There were some Americans, there were some Colombians,
Hmm.
and when we look at that aspect of it, we see that it had to be one person who understand the nature of mercenary missions, okay, who could teach people how to go in there because they pretended to be FBI. They were DEA. That's where they're supposed to be, DEA, and got in. Who
Hmm.
could get them to disarm themselves? Who could teach people how to do that? And so it comes to like who I have my own impression of who I think that took this mission on. We can't say that this person um decided to do this. He's got a mercenary troop of people. And so he would have to have been paid and said, this is what we want. We want to get rid of Moye and bring somebody else in there. Here's the deal. First of all, Haiti is independent. Okay. And that's number one. They don't want anybody controlling them. Then we also have the fact that Haiti does not want the virus. They didn't want, I mean, not the virus. They don't want the vaccine. And though, although their vaccine was supposed to be being sent to them, they didn't ask for that. Okay. And
Wait,
so,
so they don't want the vaccine?
no,
Nobody?
they did not want the vaccine. They had natural medicines that they were going to use to work for themselves. So they were
Oh.
being sent the vaccine. I think our press secretary, I can't think of her name, the young lady with the red hair, but anyway, she was saying that they were sending it over there. Here's the thing that Haiti is kind of sitting prime now to be controlled. Okay. Someone wants control of Haiti. Why? Well, Haiti sits on a lot of natural minerals that can help in technology and things like that. And I'm not talking about gold and oil. I'm talking about the real type of metals that can really advance a lot of countries, because especially the United States, we love to be in the rush to, let's get to the moon. Gil Scott Heron did a spoken word poem called Whitey on the Moon, and it was about how, the government was going to the moon, but people in all areas, wherever you weren't getting enough food or housing and things like that. And even
Mhm.
though that was way time ago, it's still now. So there's a lot of big people that want some of what Haiti has. So that to me is more of an important topic than Haiti, imploding. It's not going to implode if that's what you're saying. But they want someone in position that's going to be, can I say, more obedient? But we see how that
Ah.
turned out with Noriega, with Fidel Castro. They were put in place, uh, but they flipped. Okay, so just some things to think about. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So what
my
I'm trying to say is
gosh.
the rabbit hole goes really deep. Okay.
It
And we
does.
cannot be naive to say it's Russia, it's Russia. This is not the Red Scare time. Our political, and I'm gonna say alleged because I'm this is a YouTube channel. Our the politicals across the world they're not right. Okay, they're not right. I'm gonna leave
Hmm.
it at that.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you
You might get
three.
beat up in your comments, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm telling you what my guides say is what I'm gonna say. So mhm,
Illinois just added Asian American studies to their curriculum. Oh, that's good.
that's good.
Faye says my husband just told me that Illinois just added Asian American studies to their curriculum. That's good.
Yep.
Did you?
One said Haiti has copper. Yep. Right. Metal for computer chips. You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Oh,
These
yeah.
ladies are woke here in this they know. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
really
thank you,
bad.
Martha. Jan Psaki, Speaker of the
Wow.
House.
Did you read about? I don't know. I just scoured things to ask you, but there's this woman. Speaking of Asian Americans, there was this woman who this is totally stupid, but she was trying to usher this dog, this who had an Asian American owner. She was trying to get this dog to come out in traffic.
Oh, girl, I saw a clip of that
Did you see
mess.
that?
I don't know if I guess the dog was not on leash or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was a
yeah.
whole Karen and she was getting the dog, trying to get the dog to come out in traffic. What if the dog had got killed? I am a dog lover, okay? You know, I really am. And if you would have wanted to see the ugly side of Joyce, then try to get my dog to get out in the street and get hit. Are you kidding? I think they held their composure. And she even went up to the police car trying to get the police in. And there are a lot of police that now understand the Karen concept, but they did not act. You know, they did not try to. She was trying to get the couple arrested. You know, so yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
I wanted
that's
to talk about
something
something though,
different.
because I made some notes and because I don't remember all the time, and I thought something that was super important. And you'd mentioned in your email, and I know we're about 50 minutes in. But
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about what you had mentioned, which was cutting cords and building
Yes.
cords,
Right,
connections.
right, right.
And so the first thing I want to talk about is when we talk about cords, we do have cords with people, energy cords. We need those. You know, that is the way that we build kinship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we connect cords with someone that we resonate with mostly, it's because we want to exchange energy and we want to have a deeper connection or deeper understanding of this particular person,
Mm-hmm.
and it energizes us. But at the same time, the negative aspect is a lot of times when those relationships aren't there anymore, maybe we divorced or you and I moved to different cities or we don't work at the same place or whatever, we still have those cords, right? And those cords are depleting to our energy. As a Reiki energy healer, you know that it just drains the energy out of us. And so I
Mm-hmm.
thought I'd make a list, a few things that what happens if you are still connected to someone energetically, and how do you know? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I've got down that you start feeling you have this kind of little depression or sadness, but you don't know why, but it's there. Or you might feel stuck. You're stuck at your job, you're stuck in your life, you just excuse me, stuck in your life, you're feeling stuck. Your decision making is not clear. You
Right.
can't decide which way to go. Sometimes you find yourself obsessed with someone. You know, that guy, we've all had that guy that we are obsessed with. Or maybe it's some lady in your life or family member that you get to be obsessed with them, thinking about them nonstop and wondering why they're not calling you or what happened between us or what they did wrong, especially if you're speaking negative on that
Mm-hmm.
individual, everything that they did to you. All of that is energy or making judgments on people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in addition, addictive behavior that also can, and that is addictive if you're thinking about somebody, overthinking about them so much. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I think about like, how do we cut those cords, you know, because we want to have a life that belongs to us. We want to
Right.
recognize that this is my life and I get the chance to decide what I want to manifest, you know, consciously, or how I want to move in the world, or maybe I
Mm-hmm.
want to be more cognizant of my spiritual path. So some things I suggest, and you probably have some as well. I think one of the things is taking a salt bath, like an Epsom salt bath or something like that, or pink Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt is wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
because that adds energy. That's like recharge of your
Yeah.
battery. It adds
Exactly.
balances you.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I always tell people is write a letter. Like if I'm mad at someone or they've done me wrong, you know, then I'm going to, I say that facetiously because that's not how the word works. But anyway, write the letter out. Say everything that you feel this person did to you and how you feel about
Mm-hmm.
them and yada, yada, yada. Then tear the letter up and then burn it. If you have a safe place to burn it up.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to do that a few times. It won't
Mm-hmm.
happen just the very first time, but that's a wonderful thing to do. I also have a visualization piece that I always suggest to people, and that is to imagine that you see this person on a stage, like your gymnasium, PE, whatever you say. We used to say gym, and he's on the stage there. We used to have the talent shows and the choirs. See them there, see them in this bright, beautiful, loving light, just shining on them. Then imagine yourself giving them something that they always wanted. Maybe it's a ton of money or a
Mm.
brand new car or whatever. Give it to them with love. Let them know I love you and I release you. And then imagine yourself taking the scissors and imagine this cord and cut that cord and allow that
Mhm.
person to float away, and then replace yourself in that light and giving yourself the things that would make you very happy. The things I'm telling you, this is not one shot, one kill. It
Mm.
depends on the level of that connection between people. Um, and then another thing I like to do is called calling your power back. And for me, that's like I call all the power back from every person, every place, every situation, every job, every ex, every ever, and I bring it back to myself now. And that's
Mhm.
calling your power back to yourself. Some ways I think that we can get that energy too, besides that is, and I think this is, we don't have any young girls in here. I don't think really sexually active people, is sexuality. Sexuality for a female, because we are the receivers, right?
Mhm.
We are taking every bit of energy of that person and all the other people that that person was dealing with, and we are carrying it inside of our body. And now you're wondering why you have this depression or this headache, or where did your joy go? Or now you find yourself possessive and angry and you don't even know why. And it's that
Mhm.
energy of that person that you are holding on to. Um,
Yeah.
but I also put down, just on the positive side, some things that you can create some strong bonds with people. And that includes family, if you are still dealing with your family. A lot of us choose not to, but also friends. And the one thing I think is supporting that person, like coming on a channel like this is a support of that person, or anything. Can you take someone's, can you take their grocery in the house or whatever? Support them in what they're doing. Learn how
Mhm.
to love people unconditionally and stop having them live up to some expectation that you want that you don't even live up to. Um, mhm. Laugh more, be more, find some laughter and joy. Those
I
create,
love to laugh. Love
yeah,
it. Love it. I'm the best
absolutely.
audience. If you're a
Are you?
comedian, you want me in your audience.
Oh, yes. If I was a comedian, I'd have you front and center. I think also appreciate people now. You ever heard that term, give them their flowers? Appreciate them now. Don't wait
Yeah.
until they are past and now you come out with all how wonderful they were. No, love them right now. Appreciate them for whatever they're bringing to the
Yes.
table. Give them mercy. Mercy is so important. That mercy and grace of people, because we're not perfect. If I was perfect and you were perfect, we wouldn't be here. We would What lessons
Right.
would we need to learn? We wouldn't be here.
Because
Um,
this is a classroom. If we were perfect, we
that's
wouldn't need
right.
to be here.
Right. And then share openly and honestly on communication. Communicate and share honestly, good times and bad times. And
Hmm.
knowing that, trusting your own discernment, to know that I'm talking to so and so and I can trust this person. It won't be all over
Hmm.
town. So that creates strong bonds. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, as a practitioner, as a Reiki practitioner, when I am at the end of a treatment or a session, I just I go back to the first position, and then I say, go in peace, peace be with you, go in peace, peace be with you, go in peace be with you. 3 times. You cut those cords, because you've just, you don't really have, unless it's a family member or a friend, you don't really have strong cords there anyway, so you can cut
Mhm.
those cords. For the stronger family members, you're right, it takes a little bit more.
Mhm.
But yeah, before I go to bed at night, I cut all
Yeah.
the cords that I can.
I do that, and then I either sage takes all the energy out. Okay, just a regular sage, And then
Mm-hmm.
Palo Santos, that takes the negative energy. Because this is my office space. And can you imagine everybody that would be in here with me with the readings I do if I don't cut those cords, those attachments, whether they're strong or not, you're still in this deep exchange with someone who may be emotional or revealing things that they feel they can't tell other people. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't leave out. It's almost like if you're in therapy, your therapist does not leave the office and go tell the secretary and the cafeteria lady and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
Those are things
right.
you have to hold. And so you have to do these things I do in order to cleanse myself and start fresh again and be re-energized, you know?
Mm-hmm. There's
Mhm.
there's also this stuff called copal.
Mhm.
It's like I don't know if you can see it. I have it in here.
Yeah.
It's you just burn this and it
Mm.
smells really wonderful and it clears the room
Oh, send me that.
spectacularly.
Send me the spelling of that. Then I can
Copal, Copal, and it comes in like little rocks. They're little. Oops, dropped them right on my computer. Yeah, they come in little pebbles, um, like little crystal shards, like
Oh, I
that.
see. Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, you can just put them in a little bowl and just burn it. And they don't stay. They will sort of melt down into a liquid kind of that just goes into like a little ball. It just shrinks
Right.
once it's burned. But it's a good cleanser, and I always use this black tourmaline
Mhm.
just
Yes, for sure.
everywhere on my
Okay.
cards, on
Mhm.
next to my bed at night,
Yeah.
on my desk, in front of my
You're like me.
computer. I
Mhm.
have this. Oh, this one is so beautiful.
Where's mine?
This is
I want
black
to show you. I've got
tourmaline.
mine. I can't get on camera. Yeah, I keep this on my computer, and I keep a lot of crystals for various reasons. Uh, yeah. So
Yeah,
I've
but that
actually
one's good
got
for protection.
another. I don't want to stop you, but I got another reading to go to. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay. So
If maybe we can
I
pick
just
up
wanted.
another time.
Okay, so we can do this again. But thank you so
Absolutely.
so much for being here. And it was been so great meeting you. And
It
I
was
will
nice meeting
continue
you
to
too.
watch. If you've not subscribed to Joyce All Knowing Tarot, go to her channel,
Thank
subscribe.
you.
She's the real deal. She will get you straight. Get you straight.
That's true. That's myself, me and Linda G, myself, and a few others. We will help you on your path. But I would love to have you guys come over and subscribe. I'm always doing something. I want to come back. I hope that you will invite me another time.
Yes, of
I enjoyed this.
course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course I will. And thank you so much for giving me the time. I appreciate it, and much gratitude and love to you. Sending you all the white light energy I can,
Thank you.
and thanks for everyone in the chat. Thank you. I see Johnny.
Is Johnny in here? I didn't see
Hi,
him. Hi, oh, there he is. Tarot
there he
Apprentice.
is.
Johnny is the
Thank you
only person.
guys so
Wait a minute. Let me
much.
just say this right quick before I go. Johnny, you're the only person has not ever spoken to me. You got to get in touch with me at some time. We'll have to get in touch and do something. But anyways,
All right. So thank you, Joyce, so
you're
much.
welcome.
Have a wonderful reading and a wonderful rest of the week. And I will talk to you soon.
All
And
right. Bye
thank you,
bye.
everyone. Goodbye. Walk in beauty. Bye.